All righty. You are looking live. It's sold out MetLife Stadium, where today the 16-0 and playoff-bound New York Giants will be taking on the 0-16 Miami Dolphins. And why are the Miami Dolphins 0-16? Because they suck. And that never gets old. Welcome to the Gridiron. Anybody out there at all that's going to spend a little bit of time with me here this evening, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much. Or if anybody's going to spend any time watching the replay this, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. Thank you. I'm going to try to go about 30 minutes here tonight, shoot my mouth off for about 30 minutes. Anybody got anything to say, please feel free, fire away, throw it in the chat box. You should try to check on the chat box like every 5-10 minutes or so. So as soon as I see something in there, try to respond to it as fast as I can. So please feel free, fire away. But plus also, instead of me just rambling on for half an hour, 45 minutes or whatever, it's just nice to talk to another Giant fan. So please feel free, fire away. Before we get started, if anybody wants to help support my channel out, it would mean the absolute world to me. In the description box below, the top link in the description box takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. The first one's called the Saquon. Second membership level I got is called the Lawrence Taylor. And the third membership level I got is called the Gridiron. Each one has their own little perks to them. So if you want to help support my channel out, it would mean so much to me. And I thank you so much. If you are subscribed to my channel, once again, thank you. I can use all the support I can get, guys. But if not, please go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon. That way, next time I go live or I put a video out, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge. What do you got to lose, right? But if you are subscribed to my channel, thank you. Then finally, also in the description box, there's 3 other links I got. The first one takes you to my Facebook group. Second one goes to my Twitter account. To me, it's Twitter. I don't care what Elon Musk wants, what letter of the alphabet he wants to call it this week. To me, it's Twitter. If you follow me, I will follow you back. That is an absolute promise. So you check me out there. I also got a TikTok account. I put some videos on TikTok. But the top link, it takes you to my Facebook group called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's a group. We have over 6,800 members in there. Stuff going in there every day, darn near 365. If I'm alive and breathing and I have internet access, there's stuff going in that group every day. And not only do I put stuff in there, but members post stuff in there as well. So there's a ton of information going in there every day. All right. So all that stuff said and done and out of the way with. Well, oh, yeah, man, the good news for the Giants offensive line just keeps on getting better. Keep on keeping on. And oh, man, I'll tell you what, we just can't seem to catch a break here with the offensive line. So we got 3 guys ruled out. Oh, my God, for the Sunday game against the Dolphins. The Giants will be without 3 offensive linemen, including 2 of their top starters. Sure, right? Why not? What else can go wrong this year, right? On Sunday when they visit the Miami Dolphins on Sunday. Left tackle Andrew Thomas, hamstring, will miss his 4th straight game, as there is no return in sight for the all-pro offensive lineman. Now, the thing was, that's the one thing is like with the hamstring. You just don't quite know, because if going to miss his 4th game, they probably could have put him on IR, right? And maybe had bring somebody to take his place on the roster, but they kept him on the roster because you don't know. Maybe it'd be a week, maybe 2 weeks. One of those things you just don't know with the hamstring. And of course now it's now we're up to 4 games. Who knows, right? Could be a 5th game, could be a 6th game, could be 2 months. You have no idea. All you do know is that's one of those things, right? Is that, it's not like a broken bone or something where you can just tape the living crap out of it, right? And, you know what I mean? And, he's got some pins in or something like that. Maybe, he can work his way through it. One of those things, man, one wrong step, one this, one that, and boom. Now you're back on you're back on the sideline for next month or so or whatever. So that's one of the big problems with the hamstring. You never know. Never know. All right, so we also got without John Michael Schmitz, who was injured on the tush push. Gotta love it. She goes to Giants, and the only team I think in the NFL history that lost like 2 guys on a quarterback sneak. Did a little quarterback sneak, and couple guys get injured. Absolutely, absolutely amazing. Can anything go right for the Giants this season? Head coach Brian Daboll said that Ben Bredeson, the team's starting left guard, will step in at center for Schmitz, while Azudu will continue at left tackle. But with reserve offensive lineman Shane Lemieux groin also being declared out, I mean, in a way, that's not that horrible because Shane Lemieux is. I mean, I love the guy. He could play on my team anytime. I just wish he was better. Just honest to goodness. Now, I mean, you don't know. Is it all totally 100% his fault? Is it some him, some coaching? 25% him, 75% coaching, 75% him, 25% coaching. That you don't know. I mean, I love the attitude and all that, but I can't possibly see him being on the roster after the season's over. I mean, he just looks absolutely lost out there. Absolutely, unbelievably lost. And it's just simply amazing because this is his fourth season. Yeah. I mean, how after 4 seasons, you still look absolutely, unbelievably, totally lost. I can't have a hard time with that. So we got, but with the reserve offensive lineman Shane Lemieux, also being clear, that likely means that Mark Lewinsky will have to step in at left guard spot. Oh my goodness! I don't know who's worse, Lewinsky or Lemieux. I mean, oof. New York has listed Saquon Barkley, ankle, tight end, Daniel Bellinger, knee, and inside linebacker Micah McFadden with an ankle is questionable for Sunday. After going through the week, Barkley will likely be a game-time decision, having seen an increase in his practice reps. But, I mean, the thing is, like, with him is, if he's of course, he's the only one that knows this, but you want him like 95%, 95% of the way back. If he's coming back and he's like 70%, 75% or something like that, one of anything, twisting the ankle or anything like that, it's just going to set him back and he'll be out for another month or so or what. I mean, so it's like, I just hope if and when he does come back in, it's because he's ready to go. He's almost 100%. And, he won't damage it any further. So, but you can kind of see that, with him not in the lineup, he really does, our running game really takes a hit. Really, really, really takes a hit. Because Daniel Jones does far better in there. Well, obviously when he gets protection, but the play action, and of course, if you got Saquon back there, the play action, is so much more productive, right? Than if you got Breida or Brightwell back there. Then again, of course, as I've said this before in other videos, when you're down 342-0 halfway through the second quarter or third quarter or whatever the case might be, the defense is, not worrying about the run. If you want to try to establish the run halfway through the third quarter when you're down by 75 touchdowns, hey, let's establish the running game, huh? Let's get some, right, huh? Let's pound the rock, shall we? We're down by 812-0, but let's pound the rock. The defense doesn't really care about that then, because you run up the middle or wherever you want to go, they'll, come up on you and make the tackle. You'll get 5-6 yards, whatever, 7, whatever. They'll tackle you and tick, 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 tick. The clock keeps running, right? So. Says Bellinger's status is a concern. If he has to miss the game, that will likely mean fellow tight end Darren Waller will have to help out, unfortunately, some more than usual with blocking, something he's well aware of being a possibility. He said, my role may shift with him not being on the field, and that's part of being a teammate, Waller told reporters yesterday. As much as I like to run routes all the time, there might be things that I may not necessarily want to do that are necessary. That's everybody in football. There are certain situations that I've got to do to help this team. Belly is extremely important to what we do, not only in the run game, but he's gotten much better at route running and in the pass game. The Giants could also look to have Matthew Parrott as their jumbo tight end, but doing so would mean taking a legitimate pass catcher option off the field. That's one of those things. What do you want to do? Right? Take another route runner off the field, but hopefully, the pass protector will, give Daniel Jones an extra second in the pocket, one extra second maybe or so in the pocket, but with one less option down the field to throw the ball to. Right. Several Giant players didn't receive an injury designation, but were limited and bear watching into the weekend. These include starting offensive lineman Marcus McKeithen with a knee, Evan Neal with a hand/ankle. Both players were limited all week in practice, but will try to push through their respective ailments. Running back Gary Brightwell with an ankle, outside linebacker Azeez Ojulari. I think he's, as long as he's nothing too horrible there, I'm sure they're just giving him some rest. Wan'Dale Robinson with his knee, they're just giving him some rest, hopefully. We're also among those who were limited but didn't receive an injury designation. So, hopefully some of those guys are just like, they're giving us some time off. Because, that's the last thing you want to do is, like with Azeez is have him get through a game or so, and then you push him real hard in practice or whatever, and then he winds up re-injuring himself. So that's the last thing you want with him. The Giants did work out. Don't get too excited about this. Justin Pugh, okay. Got my dog here. He lays at my feet, but sometimes he's laying over here. Sometimes he's laying right in front. Sometimes he's laying a little farther away. So when I got to adjust my legs, I got to be careful. I don't hit him. So what the Giants did work. Jamarco Jones. Now, once again, don't get too excited about him. Giants are incredibly banged up along their offensive line. Shocker there. And have been seeking out healthy bodies. Earlier this week, they signed Justin Pugh to practice squad, but that apparently wasn't enough. On Thursday, the team hosted offensive tackle Jamarco Jones for a workout in East Rutherford. The 27-year-old Jones was a fifth-round pick of the Seahawks in 2018. He spent the first 4 years of his career out on the West Coast before spending 2022 with the Titans. But from what I saw with the Titans, he didn't play at all. For what I didn't see any snaps at all. Let's see here. Jones has appeared in 36 career games with 7 starts. He's taken snaps at 4 of the 5 positions along the line over that span. So flexibility, which is huge, right? Left tackle, right tackle, left guard, and right guard. Although he spent last season with the Titans, Jones has not taken a regular season snap since 2021 with the Seahawks. That was also when he earned his highest overall Pro Football Focus grade, 56.9 of his career. Since the Giants did not immediately sign him to a contract. But then it was the same thing with Justin Pugh, right? They brought him in, and then he left. And everybody's kind of like, what happened with Justin? Did they sign him? Did it not go good? Not go good? What's going on? And then they signed Justin Pugh. So, you don't know Jamarco, right? But as if we go and look at Pro Football Focus here, Jamarco, where are you, brother? Here you go. There you go. All right. Now, 6'4". They only got 293 pounds. So you see somebody under 300 pounds as an offensive lineman. It's like, damn, that's kind of thin. Kind of light. But he was from Ohio State, right? Good pedigree. Let's see. What did he grade out at here? At Ohio State, 2017 here. We had some pretty good numbers. Wow. Senior season, graded out an 87. Very, very good with Ohio State. Very, very good. 911 snaps, 463 passing, 448 run blocking. So right about 50-50, graded out 87 his pass with Ohio State senior season. 81.8 pass blocking grade, 84.1 run blocking. However, that is not transferred over to the NFL. Because, let's see here. Because he played in 3 seasons. I mean, he got snaps for 3 seasons with the Seahawks, 2019, 20, 2021. 2019, he had 396 snaps. He graded out a 49. Okay. His pass blocking was a 36.9. His run blocking was a 54.9. 2020, 192 snaps. All right. 54.7 overall grade. 2021, 163 snaps. 56.9 overall grade. And then, of course, he spent last season, I guess maybe the practice squad, of the Titans. And, what's disturbing about that is that mangameslost.com, right? If you ever go there, right, you can go and you can look. What's up, buddy? What's going on, bro? What's going on? But if you go and you look, right, at the Titans, Man Games Lost, right? Last season, he was with the Titans. Last season, by far, one more time for the hearing impaired, by far, the Titans lost the most games by far to guys due to injury. They were number 1, 2, and 3. I mean, they were, if I remember, they were over 300 man games lost. The next closest team was in the 200s. So they were, right. The thing is, this will show you, tell you a little bit about, how injuries, right. The Titans did not win their division. Okay. The team that did win their division was ding, 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 Jacksonville. And Jacksonville was by far, one more time for the hearing impaired, by far the least injured team. They were the only, if I remember correctly, they were the only team last season who I think, if I remember correctly, I could pull the stats up, but I think they were under 100 man games lost due to injuries. I mean, by far. So who wins the division? The team that has nobody injured. Who doesn't win the division? The team that has everybody injured, right? So that's why Jacksonville won the division, and that's why the Titans slipped. Injuries, right? But the thing that bothers me with Jones here, okay, is that on a team that was totally massacred by injuries, he didn't get a snap at all. So I'm yeah, it's, let's not forget, when if there's, for the most part, I mean, what Collins is out there. I don't know what he might command or whatever like that, but they're, offensive line, they're just not walking on the street. You just don't walk up to an offensive line tree and, oh yeah, it's good. All right, yeah, it's our left tackle. We got our left tackle for this. They're not just walking around out there. For the most part, if there's anybody really, of good value out there, they're not available, right? So, yeah, so for the most part, if you got you're banged up on the offensive line and you don't have good quality depth, which the Giants are, kind of, as we see what some of their depth is. I mean, put McKeithen in there, okay, but I mean, like Lemieux and like Lewinsky. Sometimes Peretz has his problems. We got a couple guys on the practice squad. I'm not so sure about those guys. But if you're weak on the offensive line and you start having some injuries, it's tough. It's tough to just go on the open market and get somebody. It's not that easy. If anybody, for the most part, who's worth their weight in gold or whatever like that, they're on a team. I'm sure they're scouring now, of course, the practice squads to see if they can get anybody. Because the beauty of it, is that, if they can find somebody on a practice squad who might be good, they bring them in, they're probably going to play. especially with the Giants with their injuries. Now, hopefully, we can get Pugh up to speed maybe in a week or so or whatever, and hopefully he'll be on the 53, and we can see where we go from there. But Giants and their injuries, man. But I said, I don't know. It's the same thing I said, like with Pugh, when they brought Jones in here. It doesn't mean that we're never going to sign him. It's just there as of right now. As I said, the same thing with Pugh. We brought Pugh in, right? He came in, worked out, and then he left. And it's kind of like, what's good? Did we sign him? Is he coming back? What's going on? And then whatever it was, a week or so later, we wound up signing him. So, but if we do bring in Jamarco Jones, just by the evidence of what I can see as far as his PFF grades and the amount of snaps he's played and all of that, he's nothing super spectacular. And the other thing that bothers me too is, of course, is that I don't think, some teams out there have coaches who are, like the Eagles. I can never remember the guy's name because I'm a freaking moron. Very good coach. Their offensive line is absolutely unfreaking believable. You know what I mean? They got two with Johnson and Kelsey, two future Hall of Famers. The other guys, they took the one guy, I can't remember, their left tackle. The guy's like 13 foot tall, huge. He was a rugby player or something like that. They just brought him. I forgot what country he was from, but they just brought him in. Now he's an unbelievable left tackle. You know what I mean? So everybody they bring in there is guy's just like unbelievable. And it's just like anybody we're going to bring in here is going to have a hard time because I'm not too huge on Johnson. You know what I mean? It's why do we always have problems? Why do we always have, you know what I mean? So, all right. Let's see here. Trey Hawkins. Oh, well, let me go. Actually, before him, I want to talk about Evan Neal there. I mean, I understand, hey, I mean, I never flipped burgers, but I used to deliver pizzas, right? So I was in the food, right? I delivered Pizza Hut. I used to deliver pizza for people. I actually washed dishes and mopped the floors and all, what I mean? So I wasn't maybe flipping burgers, but I was flipping pizzas, delivering pizzas. So I was in the restaurant and all that. I mean, some people are making a big deal out of it. Some guys are. Some people. I mean, I've seen a couple of people on the New York scene really like flipping out and all of that. Then I also kind of talking about like I think Boomer. Is it Geo and Boomer and Geo or whatever? I mean, and they're kind of like give the guy a break and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, he said something wrong. He's only like at 22, 23 years old. He made a mistake. I'm sure, he's going to live and learn by it and all of that and everything. And, he just made a boo-boo. The guy's out there trying, right? That's all he can ask for. I'm a big fan of his. I hope he turns it around. I don't want to see the guy be a bust, but, if he said something, what would bother me? I mean, he says this, about people. Why if I'm a lion, I want to listen to a sheep or something like that. What are they doing for a job? Flipping burgers or whatever, something like that. Okay, he said, so, he's embarrassed, he's upset, he's this, that, and the other thing, and people keep asking him same stupid questions, and over and over and over. So I can see where he's coming from. He's just frustrated. The thing that would bother me would be if he would keep doing stuff like this, like the moron Kadarius Toney, right? I mean, he seems to have a fun time, like just keep jabbing at the Giants, right? Giving the Giants the middle finger. He was trying on his Super Bowl ring, and he's giving the middle finger. This one's for the Giants fan. This is for the Giant. I mean, really childish. So he seemed, if you keep going back and forth, that's when we got a problem. Or like Eli Apple, he's going out of his way, trying to make, I don't know which city I hate worse, or he said New Orleans smells. I don't know what fans I hate more, the Saint fans or the Giant fans or something. I mean, going back and forth to saying it multiple times. That's when you got yourself a problem. That's when you have yourself a juvenile delinquent. Just somebody just totally childish, right? you kind of hope that maybe Eli or Kadar learn their lesson one of these days. But I mean, Evan Neal, the man's out there trying. The guy's probably never. Yeah, I mean, he don't get me wrong. Like in high school and college and all, I'm sure he's given up a sack, or I'm sure he's missed a block here or there. But it's kind of tough for guys like that. I mean, you're in Alabama. I mean, you're playing on the offensive line for Alabama. I mean, you got good things going for you. I mean, if you're that bad, if you're missing a lot of block, guess what? You're on the sideline. I mean, so this is adversity, right? Sometimes adversity is good for you, right? It can bring you down, or it can bring you up. So if he keeps saying stuff like this, I don't think he will. I don't. I don't got a crystal ball, but it just seems like he's mature for his age. Seems like he wants to do the best for himself and his teammates and all that. I'd have a hard time believing that it's going to be a continuing thing. He seems like a grown, mature man. And it also sounded like, after he said it, I don't know who it was that talked to him. I don't know if it was Dable. I don't know if Shane, Dable, one of his teammates, whatever like that, said something to him, whatever. But he went out of his way to apologize. So I think he's seeing the errors of his way. So, but if something like that keeps on happening, well, then maybe you have yourself a problem. But I'm not. It is what it is. I'd be pissed off too. I mean, I'd really, really be pissed off because he's not used to that. I mean, he's not used to that at all. And then we got Trey Hawkins. What happened to Trey Hawkins? I mean, I'll tell you what. I mean, let's see. Trey Hawkins, where are we at here? PF, what do they got him at? PFF. They have him at, 3 missed tackles? Against the 49ers. Missed tackles. Yeah, 3 missed. I mean, he in that 49er game, I'm not exactly sure what he was doing on a couple of those tackles. I'm not sure if he didn't want to tackle. Maybe he was injured and he didn't want to. I don't know what was going on with him, but man, he had that game was really, really bad. He, according to Pro Football Focus, that's all I'm going by. His coverage grade was a 37.2. He did good in the Arizona game. I mean, Arizona, let's see, no missed tackles. They threw the ball his way, according to PFF. That's all I'm going by. They threw his ball his way 2 times. They gave up no receptions in the Arizona game. Dallas, let's see. Well, I mean, Dallas, 51 snaps against the Cowboys. He gave up 1 completion for 19 yards, 4 yards after the catch. So I mean, right? I mean, they looks like the quarterback rating or whatever when they're throwing in his direction is 118.8 in the Dallas game. But okay, he gave up 1 reception for 19 yards. Okay, but they threw the ball in 1 time. If it was that horrible, aren't we just okay? Oh, where's Hawkins at? Oh, there he is. Hike, right? If he's that horrible in the Cowboy game, we're just throwing the ball over there every play, right? You got thrown that 1 time, and he gave up 1 reception, so that's not bad. I said in the Cardinal game, if you look at it like this, after weeks 1 and 2, Hawkins, they threw the ball at him 3 times. He gave up 1 reception for 19 yards. Now, of course, in the 49er game, it looks like they threw the ball at him 2 times. He gave up 2 receptions, okay? And it was only for, 35 yards. So if you want to look at it, he's given up 54 yards in receptions in the first 3 games. Now, he didn't play at all, okay? Did he play special teams at all? Let me see here. Snaps by special teams. Did he play special teams? Yes, he played special teams against the Seahawks. 7 total snaps. 2 on the kick return, 5 on the punt return. So kickoff return and punt return. He was out there for 7 snaps in the Seahawks game. He graded out as 62.3, which is certainly not horrible. All right, so he was on the field in week 4, but he only played the first 3 weeks on defense. So now, be interesting to see I mean, because some of those missed tackles were just kind of like, it was just almost embarrassing. Really. I mean, that him, I know there was some other missed tackles that just kind of really emphasized that the missed, it just really, really looked embarrassing. So hopefully, I mean, if they took him off against the Seahawks, I mean, he's got a challenge this week. I mean, and of course, now there's something else I wanted to bring up too. Did the Giants dodge a bullet? Did the Giants get maybe a little lucky? Maybe. I mean, except if you take away, we played 8 halves of football. Okay. 7 of them, right? We had one good half of football. One really, really good half of football. But other than that, if you take that one half against the Cardinal game and take it and throw it out of court, right? Those other 7, has anything good gone for the Giants, right? Well, maybe one thing good, maybe a little good thing did happen, right? Because of course, the Miami Dolphins, like they actually need more depth or more quality players on offense, right? They only lead I think I know rushing touchdowns, overall points scored, points per game, yards, this, that. I mean, when you put up 70 points in a game, that really helps escalate some of your stats, right? Like they really needed some extra firepower on offense. Well, of course they went. I don't know what the deal was for Claypool, right? But they got Claypool coming in. Yeah, like they need more help, right, on offense. But the nice thing is that he just came in, right? So he's not going to be in there every snap. He doesn't know all the, right, all the plays and and everything. So with any luck, right? I mean, of course, he's a nice shiny new toy, right? They might want to maybe put a few plays in there for him, but there'll be hopefully maybe 10 plays, maybe. So he won't be out there the whole time. So the Giants might have dodged a bullet a little bit. Could you imagine? I mean, the running backs they got, if they can keep Tua standing up, because their offensive line is a little banged up. Armstead's not going to be playing, right? The center is bad. He may not be playing. But, I mean, could you imagine if they got Claypool out there, right? Waddle and Hill. Holy cow, right? So you might maybe see, I haven't looked into it enough or whatever, but I mean, maybe Claypool might be in there for just a few plays, but the Giants might have just dodged a little bit of a bullet. If you figure you're going, 2 weeks, 3 weeks or so, whatever down the road, like when the Eagles play them or something like that, they might have the 3-headed monster out there. And the Eagles defense is not super spectacular this year. They're giving up some yards. So to go up against somebody like, as formidable as the Dolphins are in their passing attack, the Eagles are certainly going to give up some yards there. So the Giants might have dodged a little bit of a bullet. No Claypool. Thank goodness. But with Hawkins, bench Trey Hawkins out to earn another chance with the Giants. This is from the New York Post. Naming Trey Hawkins one of their starting cornerbacks was the easy part for the Giants. It was the rookie's ability to stay there that presented the difficult challenge. Like so many of the Giants' tests this year, Hawkins quickly failed. After starting the Giants' first 3 games and playing 88, 63, and 67% of the Giants' defensive snaps, respectively, Hawkins was benched for their embarrassing 24-3 Monday Night Football loss to the Seahawks. He didn't play a single defensive snap, but he was out there for 7 special team snaps. Instead he got 7 snaps on special teams. The first time Hawkins played on special teams this year. Let's see. He said, I grade myself a little bit hard, Hawkins told the Post. I don't think I played too well. I think I did good things on film, but I also got a lot to improve on, a lot to learn with teams' tendencies. I have a lot to learn still. I've kind of seen that throughout the 3 games. He has been targeted 9 times in coverage this year. So, I don't know, because you look at PFF, they have him being targeted like 5 or 6 times. So apparently here, Yes, I don't know. Here in the post here, it says he's been targeted 9 times. He's given up 8 receptions for 127 yards, 1 touchdown, 155.8 passer rating. So PFF begs to differ, but it is what it is, right? Hawkins has emerged as one of the biggest stories of training camp, flying up the depth chart despite being drafted in the 6th round out of Old Dominion. I'll tell you what, in camp, man, he was like fly on a fly paper, man. He was like all over those guys. I mean, it was amazing. Some of the tight coverage he had. It was unbelievable. He won a starting job to begin the season along with first-round pick Deonte Banks. The Giants plan to have 2 rookies at the starting cornerback, and you knew there was going to be some learning difficulties there, some learning curves, right? Tall with long arms, Hawkins shined throughout the summer and appeared to be perfectly molded for what defensive coordinator Wink Martindale likes in his defensive backs, though much of that success came in practice against the Giants' anemic offense. I mean, some of the play. I mean, you look in training camp at some of those the plays when Hawkins was in there. He had those receivers, our own receivers, covered pretty well. By starting Hawkins, the Giants moved veteran Adoree Jackson to the slot, a new wrinkle they believe would benefit their secondary. But during Monday night's loss, they moved Jackson back to the outside, and for Hawkins, and inserted Cordell Flott in the slot, who played 55% of the defensive snaps. It was based on who we were playing in terms of how we were matching the corners and part of the game plan, Dable said. That's probably going to be a week-to-week discussion as we go through who we're playing, the matchups, how we want to play them defensively. So, we'll have to wait and see if he gets in there at all this week. Though Martindale said that he will need to use additional corners because of the heat in Miami, which is true, the heat and the humidity, and the Giants will probably be wearing their dark blue jerseys, right, which means they will be sucking in the sun because the Dolphins will be on the sideline in their white jerseys, which doesn't attract the sun. The sun beats down on it, but the darker colored jerseys just sucks in the sun. So when you're on the sideline in Miami, it'll feel like 195 degrees out there. Hawkins will likely be on the sideline again the vast majority of the game. It wasn't nothing too spectacular I was doing in training camp. I was just trying to compete and get better every day, Hawkins said. That's kind of how I earned the spot, and I'm going to continue to do that. I find a positive in everything. When I've been watching, I've been trying to still learn. Wink told me to make sure I'm learning when I watch. So I've just tried to learn, letting it go slower when you're not in it. Your adrenaline is not rushing. I'm kind of just sitting back and learning. So, I mean, regardless, I mean, chances are having him in there or, having, 2 cornerbacks in there, you knew you were going to have some learning curve. Banks seems to look good. The problems with Banks is, Banks seem to have a problem with Banks starting the game, but sometimes we have a hard time Banks finishing the game. But, gotta love Banks. It just, maybe some more reps with Hawkins. Maybe he'll get a little bit better. It's one of those things. Just gonna have to wait and see. If he's not the answer, I don't know who would be the answer. Because then, of course, then you also figure this season is Adoree Jackson's last season here. Are they going to, try to re-sign him and bring him back? Or, as I said, if Hawkins is not the answer, if we're letting Adoree Jackson go, where are we going to get these other cornerbacks from? So we'll have to wait and see. All right, and then finally, the Dolphins, they got, see, tell me we got a chance, right? I mean, the Dolphins have their own issues, okay? They do have their own issues, and this is what they say, on any given Sunday, right? Any given Sunday, just because the Giants, look, I mean, it happens a lot. I'm certainly not saying the Giants are, this is the week, baby. Here we go. I'm certainly not saying that. Yeah. But I mean, quite often throughout the course of the NFL season, right? You'll look at a team and they'll go out, maybe even on the road or at home or whatever, and they'll just like demolish a team, or they'll win whatever 31-10, 31-13, or something like that. You're like, wow, damn, that team beat that team 31-13. Wow. All right, gonna have to keep an eye out for that team. They're pretty good. And then the next week they're playing at home again against like one of the worst teams in football, and they wind up losing. It's a week-to-week thing. Matchups, week-to-week matchups. Sometimes, and if anything is due to the Giants, the bounce of the ball or a couple bounces of the ball. It's like going to whatever, the casinos, you're shooting diet, whatever, what I mean? Or you're flipping a coin or whatever. It seems like this year, like especially with the turnovers, the Giants keep calling tails every time, and it keeps heads. Flipping again. Call it Giants. Tails? Giant. Okay. Heads. Okay, we're going to try it again. Giants call it. Say, Giants. Tails? Okay. Heads. You lose again. What I mean? One of these times, or maybe if we're lucky, maybe you might get a couple of bounces to go to the Giants. But I mean, like the Kayvon Thibodeau, I mean, that was pretty damn athletic of him, right? Geno Smith's trying to throw the ball around him, and he sticks his hand out. I mean, that was pretty nice. Of course, I think he had the eye on the goal line, right? So instead of maybe tipping it and this and that, and it just went, instead of maybe jumping for it, dive, maybe trying to just secure it. I understand where he's going. Nothing bigger than a pick six, bring it back to the house. The base is going crazy. Maybe he might turn, maybe he might have turned things around a little bit. Once again, maybe, right? But instead of just trying to maybe jump, dive, and secure the interception, somebody comes down and touches him down. But we got the ball at the 20-yard line or wherever it was. But one of these times, the bounce of the ball might just go the Giants' way. We might get a couple bounces. Who knows? That's what anything's possible. But as I said, the Dolphins are not without. They have their own issues here as well too. They got they got some giant stuff going on, and they got some injury problem here. All right. The Giants are a 2022 playoff team that has gotten off to a horrendous 1-3 start. And it's not so much the 1-3. It's the way they lost the 1-3. They just got totally, absolutely embarrassed in their 3 losses because of injuries and other factors, and approach Sunday's game with the awareness that their season could be placed on life support with another loss. Yeah, I mean, pretty much. If they lose this week and then they play Buffalo, okay, so of course it's on, in prime time once again, right? We lose this one and lose that one, you're 1-5. You can pretty much kiss things kind of goodbye. Not many teams have ever done that. What was it? The 1970 Cincinnati Bengals started 1-6, I believe it was. Not only did they make the playoffs, they won the division. They won their final 7 games. I'm certainly not saying the Giants are going to do that, right? But they started 1-6. They were in last place. They won their final 7 games. They only played 14 games back in 1970. So they went from 1-6 to 8-6. The division was not very good. I think the Browns were in second place. I think the Browns were 7-7. But the Cincinnati Bengals in 70 were 1-6. They finished 8-6. They went to the playoffs. They won it. So it has happened. The Giants go 1-5. They're going to wind up making the playoffs. Probably not. But so that makes Brian Daboll's team akin to a wounded animal, which is true. And sometimes you look at it is that prime time, you're at home, the spotlights are on you, the America's on, everybody's watching you, this, that, and the other thing, and you get embarrassed, right? Sometimes the best thing to do is to get out of Dodge. Just get that out of here, right? Go, right? You're a 1:00 game. There's 312 other games on, not that many people. You're not going to have 7 trillion people watching you. You're out of town. You'll have some fans there. Giant fans are fantastic. They travel, right? So you have some Giant fans there, but you're not on prime time. You're not the only show in town. You're not at home. Because, I mean, nothing more, I mean, you got 70,000 people and 55,000 of them are booing the heck out of you when you're down, as bad as we were against the Cowboys and the Seahawks. So sometimes just to get the heck out of Dodge, that may not be bad. That may not be a bad idea, So sometimes, because then you start getting that thing, it's like us against the world, right? I mean, we're on the road, right? Nobody believes in us, right? We're not on prime time. This team scores 300 points a game. It's us against the, So they're kind of like backed into a corner, like they're a wounded animal, right? And I ain't telling them nothing. They know, a couple more losses and, we'll see you next year, right? So sometimes that's not the worst thing that can happen. Just get the heck out of Dodge. By comparison, the 3-1 Dolphins were the hottest team in the NFL going into last Sunday's AFC East showdown against the Bills, and then they got spanked. Miami flew too close to the sun and got embarrassed by a team that viewed the matchup as a statement game. Yes, they did. As disappointing as last Sunday's 48. I mean, I'm not saying, my goodness, I'm not saying we're anywhere near as good as the Bills are, but the Bills almost scored 50 points. I mean, you look at it, I mean, even the Broncos scored 20. The Bills scored 48. First game of the season, what was it, 31? The Chargers scored. It was a really, really good game. Very exciting game. But I mean, once again, considering the Giants have only put up, minimal amount of points all season long, 46, I think it is, all season long. We got a long way to go compared to ourselves offensively with the Bills and everything like that. But, the Dolphins, give up some points. For the Giants, that could arrive 4 o'clock on Sunday. My bad. I thought it was 1 o'clock. Depending on how the team performs in the Hard Rock Stadium, the Giants are desperate, which is why they are dangerous. Mike McDaniel's team needs to match that intensity, and will soon learn if they can, and will be able to push the record to 4-1. Sometimes, as I'm saying, sometimes you're at home. You got the Giants. We're just chalking. This is a dub. Giants are in town, baby. Easy W, brother. Here we go. All right. And about 2 hours from now, we'll be 4-1. We'll be living good, right? Got the Giants coming to town. This is the get right game, right? So sometimes you overlook teams, right? To get there, to keep their season-ending January rematch with the Bills relevant, the Dolphins need to address a couple of items on the team's to-do list, and most of those items require fixing in the trenches. Miami got pushed around by the Bills on both sides of the ball last Sunday, so that's not happening with the Giants. The Giants' offensive line, is not going to be pushing them around, unfortunately. Let's see. Too often during the Bills' loss, whoever wrote this here, I witnessed 4 Buffalo pass rushers collapse in the pocket. Now, this is where the Giants might have the advantage. So you tell me got a chance, right? I mean, if healthy Azeez Ojulari, Kayvon, right? Hopefully we get something from Leonard Williams, and you got Sexy Dexy pushing the pocket, right? Especially going up against possibly a backup center. This is where the Giants could do some damage. Got to push the pocket. Don't give Tua too much time back there to throw the ball. This is where the Giants could maybe make a difference, right? I witnessed the 4 Buffalo pass rushers collapsing the pocket against 5, just 5. And if there's anybody who can collapse the pocket, it's Sexy Dexy, right? And sometimes the Dolphins had 6 blockers in there. It says, in my opinion, that was the most troublesome aspect of the game. Why was Buffalo able to rough the Dolphins up? Was Miami's offensive line dominated by the Bills because of the absence of center Connor Williams, who was shelved with a groin strain, and the knee injury to Teron Armstead suffered in the second quarter? Or were the Bills able to rough up quarterback Tua Tagovailoa because Miami's offensive line has been fraudulent, taking advantage of some soft defensive lines in the first 3 games? Maybe the truth is somewhere in the middle. But the Dolphins need to find solutions to the center issue because Liam Eichenberg's struggles confirms he's not an NFL starter, and he might be their starter. We've seen too much failure from him in 3 seasons at 4 different spots. So this is where the Giants can maybe make something happen. You get, as I said, if the football gods are looking down at the Giants and going, guys, we've screwed you over. We're up here. The football gods are up in heaven, right? We're up here. We're laughing at it because you guys stink so bad. We're laughing. We got to thank you for these laughs, man. I've never laughed so hard in all my life. Now, you Giants, you absolutely stink. But we're going to pay you back from all those laughs, man. We're going to give you a couple good ones this week, right? Maybe a chip ball for an interception, maybe some strip sack. You know what I mean? Right? If the Giants are going to get something good, maybe this might be the week, and maybe the defensive line with the pressure, right, might be able to cause some problems for them. Kendall Lamb has been a serviceable starter in the previous 2 games Armstead missed this season. So it will be interesting to see how he performed this week against a talented second-year player like Kayvon. In my opinion, Miami's offensive line faces the fiercest challenge in Sundays because of the caliber of talent the Giants have on the defensive line. Absolutely. What's wrong with the Dolphins' defensive line? Miami's supposed to have a forceful defensive front too, but that hasn't been the case in the first 4 games. Teams have been able to effectively run on the Dolphins' defense. Now, this is something you would absolutely love to see the Giants do, be able to run the football, especially without Saquon Barkley. But that has not happened without Saquon in there, right? The Dolphins are allowing 123.5 rushing yards per game, 4.3 yards per attempt. Both those averages are slightly higher than the NFL average. The NFL average is 112 yards rushing per game and 4.19 yards per attempt. At this point, I am beginning to question the scheme and weekly game plans because these defensive linemen are effectively two-gapping, which is designed to keep the linebackers clean. And Miami's pass rush has been suspect all season, with Andrew Van Ginkel being the lone exception. Bradley Chubb isn't performing like someone who just received a $110 million contract. Wow. Emmanuel Ogbah, who happens to be the highest paid player in terms of base salary on Miami's roster this season, has clearly been a poor scheme fit and makes little impact on a game-to-game basis. Jaelan Phillips can't stay healthy, and Christian Wilkins, Davis, and Zach are getting pushed around too often on game day. So a lot of those guys are getting pushed around. Now, I don't know if that's going to be the case when their defense is going against our offensive line. I'm not sure if that's humanly possible for our offensive line. Banged up it is to be out there pushing other people around, but you can always hope. These struggles make me question whether reinforcements are needed or does defensive coordinator Vic Fangio need to change his approach, utilizing a more traditional 3-4 front, especially on early downs. Sunday's game against the Giants will be telling because New York's injury-depleted offensive line put together the worst performance I've seen from a unit in a decade. Yeah. Okay, hey, sometimes the truth hurts. I ain't going to argue with that. He said the worst offensive line. I don't know who wrote this here. Who is this here? I want to give somebody some props here. Omar Kelly. Okay. Omar Kelly. My man Omar. He said the worst that they've seen in a decade. Hard to argue. Giants quarterback Daniel Jones has a dismal 69.7% passer rating. Barely had time to scan the field because of how much pressure he was facing the minute the ball was snapped. The minute or the second the ball was snapped. The Seahawks defense is good, but it's not that good. 11 sacks. No, they're not that good. The Dolphins can't take advantage of an injury-depleted O-line that allowed 11 sacks last week and 23 sacks in 4 games. Maybe it's just time we go back to the drawing board and reconsider the approach. The only thing the Dolphins can't afford is for the Giants to pull off an upset on Sunday using a win over Miami to get their season back on course, which is true. Absolutely true. I'm saying, but, what do we got? We have the worst player. That certainly feels like it, doesn't it? Oh my God. Our offense looks like a team in the Mexico. Oh, hey. That's down my alley. I don't know why. I love Chivas. That's my team. They stink every year. Absolutely stink. That's my team. But you're right. You're absolutely right. I mean, it's I don't know what the heck we're going to be able to do, as far with the offensive line, as far as trying to run the ball or whatever. But they have they're giving up yardage. They're giving up points now. Once again, we scored. We got some yards and we got some points. Basically, in one half of football, right? But it just show you we can, right? We can. Is it possible? Sure, it's possible. We did it without, Andrew Thomas against the Cardinals, right? Of course, we did have Saquon Barkley in there. I don't know. It's got to be that complimentary football, right? I mean, if we, I don't know if they need to come out and just start not firing long, but a couple step drop and bam, couple step drop and bam. Get the passing game going to set up the running game instead of like what they did against the Cowboys week 1, right? We only completed one pass in that opening drive. Daniel Jones against the Cowboys. Daniel Jones dropped back, quite a few times, or a couple other times, but he took off running. So on that first drive against the Cowboys, it was pretty much all runs, right? So what we tried to do there was run the ball, get the ball down the field. Now, I don't know, maybe we can get where our, because we also had Saquon too, but now we can have the pass, maybe set up the run, because Daniel Jones's numbers are very good when you can do the play action. Can't really do the play action when you're down 312-0, right? You can't really do the play action either when you can't run the ball. So somehow they got to get start the offense throwing the ball, maybe, which it might hopefully set up the run, which maybe then maybe you can get the play action, get them, because you want to just hold those guys just for a split second. Because when you're down by 3,000 points, right? He's dropping back the pass. The linebackers aren't, oh my God, is that a play? Is he going to hand the ball off? I don't care. Hand the ball off. Go ahead. Hand it off, right? We'll come up, make the tackle. The clock will keep running, right? You'll still be down by 3,000 points. Keep the clock running, right? So it's all got to be complimentary. So hope maybe they can start throwing some short stuff or whatever, which might set up the run. But if the Giants, are going to be able to pull this off, I really, really think they're going to have to, get and the nice thing is that Buffalo was getting home with 4 against 5 or 6. I like the Giants, the defensive front. Azeez can be, right, and Kayvon is a lot better when Azeez is there. Sexy Dexy, he's getting pissed off, right? Leader line, he's not quite the same. I don't know if he'll be back next year. I can't see them offering him a contract. If they do, I can't see it being much of anything. So I don't know if he'll be back, but if the Giants can do it, they can maybe do what they're for. Now Wink's going to blitz, right? Do you want, how much do you want to blitz, or how many guys you want to send and leave, Waddle and Hill running around out there? Do you want to have 7 guys back there trying to cover those guys, or you just want to, blitz, you're going to blitz 1 or maybe 2 and only maybe 5 or 6 guys back there? It's like kind of like pick your poison. But if the Giants can get home, with 4, they might be onto something here. As I said, this could be huge. I mean, if Giants are going to have a chance, I think the defensive front could have something to say about it. Well, guys, it's been 59 minutes, almost 1 hour. So whoever spent any time, hey, guys, man, thank you, guys. Joe and who is it? Pags, 2709. And who is it? Tabby? Or TSVI. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I appreciate the comments. Thank you. So whoever spent any time listening to me live, thank you, thank you, thank you. Or if anybody spends any time watching the replays, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. As always, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo! Oh, yeah.